There we go. All right, so I'm back. Man, that was weird. I couldn't see the chat, but now I can see the chat. Yay! So my name is Diamond Stylz. We're going to talk about HBO's Generation. There we go. Now I can see y'all. How are y'all doing? Hey, Brandon. I couldn't see any of y'all talking before. It was just black over here. I was like, what is going on? But yes, so yes, I went on vacation for 10 days. It was amazing. It was good. St. Thomas was fun. Loved the beaches. Loved the food. I loved the people that I was with. It was amazing. Of course, brown and tan. Love it. I just finished playing the Mario game. Mario 2. That is my favorite Mario theme. People hated Mario 2, but I loved it. Mario 2, Super Mario Brothers 2. When you got to play Princess Peach, yes, that was my fire. Loved it, loved it, loved it. So, all right, let's talk about. So, this show on HBO is written by a father-daughter duo, and their name is Daniel and Zelda Barnes, and Zelda is 19. And so it was produced by, I think, Lena Dunham and Jenny Connors. And if we know Lena Dunham, she did a show back in the day for kind of geared towards millennials called Girls. And this kind of seems like her version of for the Gen Zers. So, it's pretty cool. When I was watching this, I was feeling like I was liking this too much as a 40-year-old. I felt like I was like, I don't know if I be, not that I shouldn't like it, but I was enjoying it too much where it was kind of scaring me, where I was not scaring. That's not the right word. It gave me pause because if I'm cut my sound off. If I am liking this, I'm wondering how the Gen Zers are responding to this. Because then I'm kind of, it makes me feel like, if I'm liking it and I'm older than them, maybe, and it's produced by somebody in this a little bit older than them, it makes me feel like, maybe they're not hitting the right marks. But I don't know. That may be just me being over analytical. But I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the show. I enjoyed how it was shot. I enjoyed the stories that were being told. I enjoyed a lot of the characters and some complicated situations. I love its kind of tongue-in-cheek kind of depiction of wokeness. It's kind of, I loved it. It's just something about this show that I really, really liked. I really liked how it was depicted. It starts off by introducing us to a character named, what's his name? Chester. Hey, Miss B, how are you? Chester. So Chester is this biracial, flamboyantly dressed gay boy, blonde hair. He is played by Justin. What's that guy's name? Justin Smith. The one I love, Justin Smith in what's that show about the breakdancers? Get up or get up or get down. Something. It didn't get. It got canceled. It had. They used Chester to gay bait the LGBT audience, but they focused on the straights. I didn't get that at all. 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 Hey, Andre. Hey, Reggie. I'm so mad Lena Dunham is an executive producer of the show because I actually liked it. I did too. I liked it more than I thought I was going to like it. And I don't, the Get Down, and they gave Chester, yes. The Get Down, yes. And I think that if I knew initially when I first watched it, if I knew that Lena Dunham was the producer, I probably wouldn't have watched it. But I actually liked it. Yeah, Wild Read. I didn't. How you're taking everything? I didn't take anything like that. I didn't look into any of that. That's was nowhere near how I was taken. I felt like Chester was a main character. I didn't feel like he was a side character. So I didn't feel like they were focused on the straights at all. I actually felt like it was queer as hell. One of the whole scenes was the fact that they're in an LGBT group and they're going on an LGBT trip to San Francisco. Like it was the whole the adults in the situation are LGBT, taking the LGBT group to that. I just felt like it wasn't just focused on the straights. There was some straight characters, of course, but we had the white boy who was navigating queerness, being down low and messing with his sisters, sucking his sister's boyfriend's dick. We had Chester who was, gay. We had the one lesbian that was attracted to the other girl. Like it was tons of queer characters to focus on. So what straights other than like who was totally straight? The sister? Who else? I can't think of who else was straight. I'm trying to think of other straight people. There was some people who were kind of bisexual, but I still consider them queer in the LGBT. I don't know. I don't. I'm trying to see what other straight characters was it. Who else was it? The black girl. That's it. Yeah, I just didn't. I just didn't get. Yeah, that was the black girl with the afro with the gay fathers. Um, and the friend, her sister. and the gay boy's sister. Yeah, I just can't imagine. I just don't know what you would have wanted. Because the rest of everybody else is queer. Yeah, everybody else is queer. And literally the show is about this group of queer people. Like particularly this season. I don't know what they're gonna do next season, but they literally the adults that you meet are gonna be the adults that you meet are gay. The black gay guidance counselor and the butch lesbian like gym teacher. uh but yeah, I love how it was shot. One of the beautiful things was that I thought about the how they played out the series is how they start telling you these moments through one person's perspective, and then in another episode they're sharing you that same moment just from another character's perspective who could be having a total different response to what's happening, or you don't know what happened before. um no, I haven't been that long. No, it's more than that. It's more than that. Jesse, I'm not a stripper. If you're looking for a stripper, then get the fuck out of here. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you. If I ignored it when you first asked me, you should have shut the fuck up. I don't know what the fuck is going on with you. You tripping. Thank you, Brandon. The full story on how the questioning girl got her mama deported. Yes, I want that full story. How did y'all? So I don't want to talk. I'm not a Gen Zer, so I'm trying to navigate the conversation in a way that is not talking about their experience because I don't know the experience of Gen Zers. Gen Zers are coming in a time where the internet is popping. Is like they don't know much other than the internet being around. No, they know a lot, but the internet has been a part of their growing up. They also um, Gen Zers also have a particular wokeness. They have because of the issues that has come, globalization when it comes to like all the things that were sparked with 9/11 and the terrorist conversations that happened. Um, school shootings, sexuality, gender identity. So many of the hot button topics, they really what's the cutoff for Gen Z? I think it's 97. Let's see. Let's look it up. I think it's 95 or 97. When you ask the question, like on Google, um, yes, you may get various answers, but it ranges from 97 to 95. Everybody's going to give you a different answer in regards to when it starts. And then it ends between 2012 and 2002. So that range of people. Yes. So yes, Wild Seed. That is Gen Z. That is not I was in fucking high school when they were starting to be born. Um, so that's not my generation. I am a millennial. Um, so it's they come. I always find now I'm the host of Marsha's Play podcast, and one of my co-hosts is a Gen Zer, and so I learned so much from. so much from him in regards to their perspective on things. And I just think it's quite interesting, just how woke they are, how many issues they have had to navigate. I was thinking as a millennial, we don't went through a lot of shit. We don't went through fucking multiple impeachments. We went through the Monica Lewinsky scandal. We went through say no to the fucking Reagan years, the crack epidemic, all the way up until all this shit, dude. Fucking Trump. We have gone through as millennials so many fucking things in our generation, but it's interesting us working through it, and then the next generation coming up. Particularly now, I am more politically on the left, like far left, and so all the work that we have done to work through and to see Gen Zs coming and picking up that mantle is beautiful for me. Like they're already at a certain level and pushing it forward, and it's amazing. And seeing them go through some of the things that they go through on this particular show is quite interesting. Particularly the situation with the baby. So I don't know. Spoiler alert. So if you don't want to be spoiled, if you don't want to, stop now. So yes, there is a baby that is being had in a bathroom in the show. And so at first I was like, let me suspend my disbelief just to entertain the show. But it was kind of interesting that I don't know how that would have played out in real life. It just felt like I gotta suspend my disbelief in this and just watch it. It just seemed like it was very unrealistic. But I've seen some real situations that I was in and was privy to that didn't seem like they would be real, and they were real. So, but it was kind of interesting how they navigated the conversation about her and the boy deciding to give the baby to the fire department, and then the friends supporting it, like everybody in the group. That was quite. I never thought about how this could play out. They are in California, which is if you have been to California or you've been to the West Coast, there's a particular white liberal wokeness that is like in Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, Sacramento. There's a particular white liberal wokeness that is kind of cultural over there. And I can see this playing out in a high school. I just feel like I could see it playing out in a high school in California. None of them tried to guilt her into keeping the baby. They were talking about it. Yes, it was like, I'm like, in my upbringing, this story would have been a whole different type of story. The support around this story, if somebody was telling this story on like a sitcom or on a TV series in my generation, unfortunately, it would not have played out like this. It would have played out like a motherfucker. Brenda's had a baby. Tupac, woe is me, giving up my baby, I'm crying. Oh, this is the hardest decision of my life. Oh, the pain. When we talk to people, sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes this is the decision that people who can birth children make. And it's not that traumatic. It's not always that. For some, yes. For some, it's not. It's a positive decision. Like I'm making the right decision for myself and doing the right thing. Yeah, I think that's quite interesting when we talk about one of the things that I learned in listening to reproductive justice organizers is how we have to really, really tell stories that are outside of the narrative of, oh, this is so sad and blah, 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 blah. And this whole little trauma-filled abortion story, trauma-filled adoption story. When I've talked to people, and some people are not, it's not traumatized like that. Some people, it's like, this is the, it's a medical procedure in regards to like getting an abortion. And yes, this is a baby that I know that I cannot take care of. So let me give it up for adoption. And it's not always some I don't know, traumatic situation. I hear so many different varieties of stories. And I think it's important to tell variety, because when you are trying to implement policies and laws and combat the far, 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 far right narrative of it being a moral thing, you know, it being a moral thing, you have to give various accounts of the experience in order to be authentic, and give, you know, just different scenarios that people who can have children could be, people who can birth children can be in. I'm being really careful not to say women, because there are men who can birth children, particularly trans men. And so, you know, and even their stories about abortion, and, you know, that's a unique perspective when it comes to reproductive justice. But we need to talk about various perspectives when we're talking about reproductive justice. So the show was quite amazing in how they depicted those things, how they supported her. You know, it just was quite cute. I loved it. I love that situation. What else? What else was quite interesting? I loved how, you know, like this just the idea of this support group, right? This support group where there is a queer man and a queer adult man and a queer adult woman who have come together to create this support group in the high school for all the queer kids. When I was growing up, this did not exist. We did not have LGBT nothing in high school. We started to have little collectives in college. We started to have little groups that were barely, you know, announced. And so, you know, we didn't have that. We had a little bit in college, but in high school, not at all. It felt like when I was in high school, I had friends who were supportive, but when I would go to other schools, when I would go to other like campuses, everybody seemed like they were lying about being gay. I wonder when Gay Straight Alliance started for high schoolers. I think it's been around for a while. If anybody doesn't know Gay Straight Alliance, GSA, I actually did an amazing event with them back in 2019. Oh my God, at Dickerson College in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. They flew me out to do a keynote. Now, there was some shady stuff going on too, but the experience with the kids about my coins, I got paid, but it was some weird shit. But anyway, I digress. The experience with the kids was freaking amazing. Seeing that, I had how they set it up was I was there for 3 days, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And Friday I would give a keynote, Saturday I would give a keynote, and Sunday I would give a keynote. And each one of those days I would give a workshop. Now I only got paid for that one day. Good coin for the one day, not for no fucking 3 days. But The first day I would talk to high school, junior high-ish high schoolers, and then the next day I would talk to freshmen in college, and then the next day I would talk to no. The next day I would talk to like seniors in high school, and then the next day I would talk to freshmen in college, and it was fucking amazing. Like GCA, people who have GCA in their system, people who have GCA in their area, and they are utilizing that tool. I think that's amazing. It started right after you and I left high school. Yeah, I don't know. I left high school in '99, so yeah, I didn't have any of that too. I didn't have any of that. I graduated high school in 2019. We had a GCA, and it wasn't really active because when we would advertise around school, people would take down our flyers. Oh, that's sad, Maxwell. They started allowing the GCA, but still wasn't allowing same-sex prom dates. Foolish and fuckery. Facts. That's horrible. In LA, when I was growing up in high school, there was a separate school for gays. What? In the guise of protecting them. In LA, when I was growing up, you repeated it. Tell me about that, Wild and Andre. I never heard of that. Same thing in Memphis, Tennessee. When you say LA, are you talking about Louisiana or are we talking about LA, like Los Angeles? Same thing in Memphis, Tennessee. There was the well-known high school for all the LGBT kids. We had a school where all the LGBT kids went, though. But it wasn't intentional. But it was the art. So I don't know how everybody's public school system did, but in Indianapolis, we had they implemented some type of magnet program where you could, where each school had a different focus on, you start focusing on where your career could go. And so the more liberal arts one was the one where all the gay kids went to, which in our city is Broad Ripple. Was it Broad Ripple? Yes. Broad Ripple, it was the more artsy, liberal arts, a lot of dance. So people applied to go to Broad Ripple if you were into that. So eventually, with all of that, a lot of queer folks went to Broad Ripple. And Broad Ripple, the area of our city, is more like artsy fartsy, like alternative. When folks running around at the time. Now we got tons of people with tattoos and piercings and da da da. But in the '90s, that was white people shit. in small town Indianapolis, that was white people stuff. So when you see all the dudes with the spiky hair, the dyed color hair, manic panic hair, they would be at Broad Ripple. And so I applied for Broad Ripple because I was into the arts and stuff, but I got denied. And I went to the hood school, which was Arlington. I went to the hood school that bussed from all the hoods, from my hood, which was Post Road, like 42nd and Post, Mid Hoffer. That's the hood that I grew up in. And South Side, which was Brick City, Barrington, Minnesota, all those places. Broad Ripple is still that way, very artsy, hippie, and such. More Black folks live there now. Broad Ripple closed now. Oh, damn. My brother is in high school, and he tells me he knows more than 2 trans kids who openly transition. They have it so good now. I don't know how the school turns out to be the Atlanta of high schools in Memphis. But Overton was definitely the gay school. Gotcha. It wasn't segregation per se, but there were kids that got beat up. Interesting. This was a refuge for gays and trans kids. Interesting. So we had a school called Roberts, but it wasn't gay. Like, if you got in any kind of fights in the regular schools and you got expelled, you would have to go to the alternative school, which was Roberts. I got expelled in 8th grade for stabbing this girl, and I had to go to Roberts to finish school, to finish junior high, to go to high school, or they was gonna not pass me on to high school. So I went to Roberts, and it was an alternative school, and if you got in fights and you were violent, we would they would send you to Roberts. And I went to Roberts my 8th grade year. What's that story? There was this girl named Pebbles. It doesn't start with her. Let's start. There was this guy named Mike. And Mike was a pretty boy, tall, attractive, not particularly my type. He's a pretty boy to everybody else. Everybody else liked him because he was tall, light skin, waves, quote unquote, good hair. But anybody who knows me knows that is actually not my type. I like chocolate, tall, thick, nappy hair boys, big lips, big nose. I like you to not look mixed. That's my type. So Mike was more not my type. Just let's say that. He was the pretty boy type, like the Chris Brown, that kind of bullshit. And so we were in a class, and I had my textbook, and Mike asked me, because he was fucking failing, because like most pretty boys, he's fucking stupid. And he was failing. And Mike, in the classroom, I had already turned my work in. He asked me if he could use my textbook to do his work. And I was like, well, you got to make sure you bring it back. And you know, I agreed to let him use my book. No intention, no nothing. Just being nice, being a nice person. Because I had already done the assignment, and all he needed to do was do the assignment and then bring my book back. So this is like at the end of the the school day. And so the bell rings for us to leave the class. And so me and Mike's lockers are not far from each other. They're like maybe like 7 lockers in between us. And so I go to my locker, and he is at his locker with his girlfriend named Jessica. And so I go to my locker and get my book because he asked to borrow my book. And so I grab my book, walk over to his locker while he's talking to his girlfriend, Jessica. And we are sitting there, and I'm sitting there kind of waiting for them to stop talking. And all right, let's exchange the book. And so Jessica has a friend named Pebbles. Jessica is exactly who you would think would be with somebody named Mike. Jessica is light-skinned. She is beautiful. She's a beautiful girl. She's light-skinned, beautiful, always got her hair done, always got some cute outfit on. They look like the perfect little junior high school fucking couple. They, they look like each other. Like they could really be brother and sister. Pebbles is her friend. Pebbles, brown skin, always dressing naked, always going to detention for being inappropriately dressed, loud, what people would say is ghetto. I actually liked Pebbles more than I liked Jessica, because Jessica act like this is so stereotypical. Like everything is so stereotypical. Like Jessica is the stuck-up light-skinned girl. Pebbles is the loud brown-skinned girl. If you think of the stereotypes that people tropes, they all fucking fit this bullshit. And so I'm sitting there looking kind of like, okay, I'm ready to go. What's up? Can y'all stop doing whatever? Like they're kissing and da-da-da-da-da. Well, not kissing, but smooching and then laughing. It's just really dumb shit that I'm not even worried about. So when it was time, when he turns around and sees me and is now responding to me, the before he could, like as soon as he sees me, to acknowledge that I'm there, Pebble says, "What are you doing?" And I say, "Oh, I'm why are you over here? Ain't gay?" What? I'm like, what the hell are you talking? Like, I'm totally gagged. Number one, this boy is nowhere near my type, but I'm just standing here to give him the book that he asked me to borrow. Why are you even coming at me with some fucking drama? He ain't gay. Get away from us. Like, she's being so fucking loud and extra. Jessica starts to laugh. So you know that all of this is getting me fire hot. Mike says, "Man, chill out." Like, he is letting me, because this time I wasn't I was, not full time, but wearing girl clothes. And very, very androgynous, wearing makeup, doing shit like that. Nothing, not using diamond, still at school, still using, my name ain't changed, all this kind of shit. So in that weird space. So when he says, "Man, chill out, man, chill out, I'm just borrowing his book," and Pebble was like, "Oh, my bad, my bad. Everybody ain't with that gay shit." And I was like, "Bitch, nobody was even talking to you. Who you calling a bitch? Fag?" And so she leaves. Yeah, she drops the F-bomb. And it leads to a escalation. And we get to twirling. So twirl, twirl, twirl. Back, 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 back. Of course, I'm wearing her out. And this teacher named Mr. Pope, black man, grabs me and slams me on the ground and puts his body over the top of me. And so my arms are under him, and he's a big ass fucking grown man, so I can't get him off of me. And Pebbles comes over him and says, "Boom, boom, boom," whole face clear, just for her to hit it. I can't even block the hits because he's on my hands. Can't even block the hits. So it's just free hits. Boom, boom, boom. My nose is bleeding. My inside of my mouth is bleeding. And so somebody grabs her. Mr. Pope grabs me and gets me up and takes me to the office. Take us both to the office. And so when we're in the office, of course she's bleeding, I'm bleeding, we're in the office. So the principal, I can't remember their name, but the principal has us in their office. And they have the security people have us in handcuffs. Both of us are in the office by ourselves, and they're like, she's crying, I'm not crying, because when I get angry, tears don't come. Like, I'm angry, so I'm like, I'm seething. I'm quiet. The worst thing in any type of situation, if I'm quiet, that means I'm on the verge of popping. And so I'm just quiet. And so we're in this office for like 30 minutes. We're in this office for like 30 minutes. If you looked at us, you would have, because she stopped crying. I'm just silent. But what they don't know is I'm over here boiling. I am on 150 in anger. My rage has not calmed down at all. At all. And so she tells the people, she was like, it's all over now. Can you take these handcuffs on us off us because they are tight? They are tight. Like, we not gonna fight. We done calm down. She's talking about herself, apparently, because I'm over here plotting. And so the principal comes in, and the principal said, okay, y'all done calm down. I don't respond at all. I just say, totally silent. I don't respond at all. And she was like, yeah, we done. And he was talking about not, not calling the police on us, like not getting us locked up for fighting because we both was fighting each other, whatever. Baby, we sat in that office, and he called the security in and undid our motherfucking our handcuffs. They did her first because she was closer to the door, and she sat there. They undid my handcuffs. I sat there. Soon as they left soon as they left away from my vicinity, I grabbed a pencil off the not a pencil, a letter opener off the principal's desk and said, boom, 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 and cut her on her neck and on her neck here and on her neck here, like on her chest here. And they came over, slammed me down and handcuffed me and called the ambulance and called juvenile on me. Like, they didn't even send her to jail. They sent me to jail. So I got expelled from school. She didn't get expelled. I got expelled from school. And so, yeah, that's the story. We actually went to high school together. And because I still graduated junior high because I had, shout out to my white female advocate, Samantha Andros. She actually really advocated for me to still, because she's a teacher, advocated for me to still take like the whatever that statewide test. I could take the test and go to Roberts and all. She just basically advocated for me because she didn't think it was fair that not that I got expelled, but that I would be held back because of the situation. And so they allowed her to actually administer the test. And the statewide test is the I-step test. And I still graduated. I still passed the test, the statewide test, in a high percentage. And so I end up still going to high school. And Pebbles end up going to Arlington. And it's funny because she ended up getting in a fight with my cousin Kiever is Kiki Wyatt's brother, middle brother. And he ended up beating her up for the same exact reason, for her calling him a faggot. Twirled her. And I know she hates the gays now. Because she is always getting beat up because she don't know how to keep her mouth shut. And as an adult, I never seen her as an adult, so I don't know where she's at. But yes, Miss Pebbles, child. Miss Pebbles. I think a lot of LGBT people, specifically DMAD. What is that? What does DMAD people went through that in high school? What is DMAD? Where cishet girls assume you want their man just because you exist. Mm-hmm. I wish I had that kind of fierceness in high school. Most of my situations were me and cis men being beaten up by women, including cheerleaders. Most of the people that I fought in high school all was dudes. I think Pebbles is the last school fight that was a cis girl. Ever since then in school, it was only boys. It was never just designated male at birth. Oh, same. Well, I say AMAB, assigned male at birth. Okay, got it. Um, yes, I remember this one girl in junior high tried to fight me because her boyfriend had hugged me for 2 seconds. Wow. Yeah, I didn't really have any. It's for some reason, particularly in junior high school, that middle before high school, the girls was fierce. Like I remember this girl named Cassandra Williams, child. She used to wear me out. She used to like fag me down. I come in the room and sit down, and I remember I had came. You know, we had those fucking chairs with the ceramic backs, and they had metal legs and those little metal disc on the bottom of them, so they slid across the floor. I had got sat down and I accidentally bumped into her seat, and she was like, "Watch what you doing, faggot!" Like I got to wear her out. I fought a white trans girl last week. No, I'm trying to think. I haven't got in a fight with a trans girl since like 2002. Yeah, I haven't gotten in a fight with a trans girl. And yeah, 2002. I think that was the last when I fought Strawberry. Yeah. It's most of my adult life I have fought boys, men and boys. In college, boy named Angel. In high school, boy named Ronnie, boy named Eddie, Edward Pope. Yeah, I haven't it's mostly dudes that be trying me. You call me a black bitch. That's funny. But yes. So let's get back to that's the story. That's that story. Let's get back to generations. So I think it's really important and interesting to note that Gen Z has these kind of tools, that they can utilize when it comes to not feeling alienated, not feeling alone. That's just different than me, how I experienced growing up. Um, um, yeah, it's just a different experience. It's just a very different experience for growing up and being queer, being either gay male, gay woman, gay girl, trans, whatever you are that's queer. It's like all that. Um, so Chester and the guidance counselor. I thought that was quite an. I thought Chester was being fucking annoying. Chester is too smart, like childish, but too smart to not understand the scope of the situation. I thought that, and maybe that was his. Like I think in the conversation at the end when the guidance counselor was like, "No, it wouldn't be you." I think where his childishness comes in at was him just ignoring, throwing caution to the wind, and I just felt like he was just doing, and Chester was doing entirely too much. And how that's the risk. Like you playing these fucking games with the fucking catfish ass fucking on the app, and you ain't supposed to be on the app, and you talking to him, and like you don't know how the fuck he can lose his whole career over you playing games. Like you playing these fucking games. Like he was smart, but he just was childish. That's just what I get from Chester. I felt like he was smart in worldly. Is that the right word? He was a little bit more worldly than the rest of the kids, but he didn't understand that you didn't understand how the world will respond to this. You playing these fucking games, and I'm glad that they set that the counselor was written in a way that there is a boundary here. Stop playing in my face, little boy. I think that's the but I do like how they play the suspense up in that conversation and play their relationship up in little moments where you wasn't for sure what the guidance counselor was going to say, even though he gave you no inkling that he was going to say, oh sure, let me explore with this high schooler. He gave you no inkling, but the way it was shot, you wasn't for sure. And I like how no, it wouldn't be you, darling. We're having some great conversations, but sweetie, you're still a child. And I'm not playing with you. I enjoy that they set that line very clear. I feel like Chester is extremely lonely and desperate, and he is not thinking straight. And also, I think Chester is in that weird space for a bright, worldly high schooler where you are more advanced than your high school peers, but you're still not an adult. I feel like I was that, not Chester, but I feel like I was that in high school where I was way more advanced than my peers around me, to me. But I still was a child, and I still hadn't lived enough to understand social relationships. Now that I'm an adult, I can look back and say, bitch, you was a kid still. I was more advanced than my peers because I had experiences in life experiences, but understanding manipulative men, understanding, social relationships that I would be in, I didn't have the lived experience to navigate those things in the way that I thought that I did when I was a older high schooler. When Sam said he wished he would have been like Chester in high school, I was scared they were gonna have sex. I do like that part. I do like that they because even what you just said, that's not pedophilic. Like him just saying he wished he was like him can lead a person watching to think that they might have a connection later on. Do you see what I'm saying? Even though that statement doesn't indicate it anywhere, but the way it was acted and the way they played it out, it gave you the sense that there might be something that might possibly could happen. But they said no, it's a child. Let me see. The only time I've ever been in a fight as an adult was with a dude too. You don't want to get arrested on some violent shit because they set your bond astronomically high. Yeah, my bond wasn't that high when I got in a fight and got locked up behind it. Yeah, I like that kind of shock and pleasant surprise when he turned Chester down, even when he did say it wouldn't be you. He hesitated. Yeah. But you needed that kind of suspense. You needed that kind of build up to will he play? When Sam said, da, 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 no, no, no. But for Black LGBT kids, I'd rather have Chester in at least a somewhat fulfilling relationship with someone his age, the way straight Black kids have that representation. But is that realistic? This is another thing that I critique people when critique from Black people when they talk about Black characters. I critique people when they talk about queer characters. Even in Pose, I critique things that people talk about trans characters because Like, for example, when Candy got killed, everybody was like, oh, they would kill one of the dark-skinned girls. But if you pay attention to real life scenario, if you look at trans women, just trans women who've been murdered, they are predominantly dark-skinned trans women. Like, look at the color perspective in the girls who have been murdered in the past 5 years. It is a lot of, there are some light-skinned girls, yes, but it is mostly dark-skinned trans women. So in the creation process, you can be real or you can do the fantasy, what people want to see. And which one is more authentic? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, what is, I get the colorism critique when it comes to Elektra, who is kind of sometimes positioned as the villain. But then she also is positioned, it's a nuanced character because she also is positioned as the preeminent beauty. Right? And so that's kind of strange. But when I talk about characters, sometimes we can't always get the uncomplicated characters. I think the goal is not to have just perfect depictions of your particular demographic. I think the goal is to have complicated, nuance, fully embodied characters of your particular demographic. It's not always gonna be sunshine, gumdrops, and rainbows. I don't know queer kids in high school who had fulfilling relationships. I just don't. I don't know any, and they may be my generation, but in my generation, there was nobody just being boyfriend and boyfriend or girlfriend and girlfriend in high school in some fulfilling, healthy relationship. I didn't ever see that. I didn't see that growing up. So that would, for me, my life, I don't know about your life, but in my life, that just wouldn't be realistic. That would be a fantasy that you would want to see played out. Yeah, that's beautiful. I would want to see it, but is that realistic? I don't know. LGBT kids today have relationships in high school. I don't know. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. I don't know. I would want. I'm not in high school, so that's how it's hard for me to picture it. And I don't hear them talking about it. Like when I hear Gen Z, they're complaining about not having relationships. Like Z, he always talks about. He talks about it like it hasn't changed much, and he's Gen Z. I think it's a bit more realistic today. Like I could see it. It's like someone who was recently in high school. I've seen black gay couples, but mostly gay girls or interracial couples. Yes, I didn't see gay girls in high school, but definitely interracial couples, and they were fucking unhealthy. The ones I saw. I don't blame Chester for pursuing older people as someone who did that same. Because the only other options in my age range were closeted or going through odd outing processes. Yes, I see that. Why do you want realism in television and movies? I want realism. I want real, I don't want fantasy. I want, particularly in dramas. Now, if I'm watching a fantasy, yes. But if I'm talking about drama and I want a character, I want it to be a realistic character. And if there's a unique situation, explain why that situation is unique. I don't want the heartless thug who's just selling drugs and killing everybody, because that's not real to the, like, say it's a drug dealer who is on the hood, who's in the hood, and you talk about he's just heartless and killing everybody and shooting and robbing, blah, blah, blah. Actually, in my particular hood, in the hoods that I've been in, not just my only one, but the ones that I've been in, the drug dealers actually have connection to community. Like they live with their grandma, and they take that. You will see them at the store taking care of their grandma at the same time as selling drugs. And they not necessarily robbing anybody. They just selling drugs. It's not always this the way. Like, think about 90s, the thug depiction of the 90s. The thug depiction of the 90s. That it's not saying that that couldn't have been a nuance somewhere, but that couldn't have been a depiction somewhere. But can you give that character a little bit more depth? Everybody I saw selling drugs was not that ruthless. When I was in, let me see. Oh, I was meeting boys. I was meeting boys on the chat line. I was, but it wasn't healthy relationship. Nobody was, like, and yeah, this is my generation, so it's a total different thing. But when I talk to Gen Zs, I can see it manifesting. I can see it manifesting. I'm not 100% sure that I would see it manifesting in Chester. I'm not 100% sure of that. That we have come that far for that. I would love to see it, and if it is, I'm okay to be wrong about that. But Chester is a particular type of femme flamboyant gay, and I would love to. I would love that to be, but I just can't see that being realistic now. Because even when I talk to Gen Zers, they complain about not being able to find it. Now, if they mask for mask, I can see that. Like, if they two masculine boys that's gay, openly gay, and they're navigating the school as masculine boys, I can see that. I can see that. Yeah, I don't want to see incestuous relationships. Okay, what about the white boy who crushed on Chester? Yeah, he was fucking awkward. I don't know. His I thought his character to me was the most socially interesting. The guy who, you know, him having his sister's boyfriend, sucking his down low sister's boyfriend's dick. That was like, that was interesting. Him and his sister going back and forth about it, and that his anxiety kind of taking over his life. His relationship with his mother was weird. The the nuance of him being attracted to the black girl. You see what I'm saying? Like, I thought and then him being having a crush on Chester. I thought his was the most complicated character, but I liked his character. Yeah, I just want to hear from the femboys that are in happy relationships. Like, I want every femboy that I follow that is Gen Z complains about the no fat, no femme culture, that they can't be out here in free loving relationship. So this ain't coming out of nowhere. This ain't coming out of I'm just assuming this is what they are saying. So I can't imagine with the no fat, no film culture that they're just not saying that it's not possible at all. I just can't imagine, even in their generation, when they're complaining about it, that there's just these plethora of film on film relationships just happening. I can see them happening in those circles, like at the club, at the queer events, and da da da. But I'm talking about just openly high school. I don't know. I can see the mask for mask being more palatable, even in real life, not just on screen, but even in real life. I can see two butched high schoolers being in a relationship together. I feel like the femme one, if they were like Chester, his flamboyancy would deter people from coming onto him and being in that spotlight. I think it comes being with somebody like that flamboyant, like Chester. I think it comes with, you have to have a level of I don't give a fuck. And being openly gay in this era, I don't think takes I don't give a fuck in this as much I don't give a fuck as we needed back in the day. Yes, a lot of films in my generation, Gen Z, do complain about it, but I do see a lot of film gays, and they date masked dudes and prefer masked dudes. I've noticed many femboys looking for a relationship that mirror heterosexual relationship, but get mad when they can't be the woman. And that would be a social block that would stop it from it happening. This is the problem. You don't see it, so it doesn't exist. No, I'm not saying that I don't see it. I'm saying what I do see. I don't know if it exists or not. That's why we're having the conversation. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm saying that I don't see it. If it exists, great. Tell me about it. That's what I think Legos and Maxwell is sharing the nuance of that conversation. So I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm saying that I don't see it because I'm not in Gen Z, so I wouldn't be there. I wouldn't be in high school watching where the films and where the gay relationships at. I wouldn't. I'm not in high school, but but in the conversation that I have and see with Gen Zers and people who high schoolers now, they complain about not being able to find relationships. Sam broke away from the pack. Sam Merlot from leaving Bob Temp and becoming a California hippie. I have no idea what you're talking about, Reggie. Who are these people? Don't really know. Study the gays on Beagles for verification. Hmm. Mm. Mm. I don't know. I don't know what is the issue with realism. And it's not really about realism, it's about telling authentic stories. Like it doesn't need to be perfect, it just needs to be authentic. The prevalence of femphobia and misogyny within a masculine identity is still there for Gen Z. Yes, and I hear the complaint about that. And one of the reasons why it wasn't prevalent in my era is because those things exist. Femphobia, and misogyny. And so if it still exists in this generation, I can't imagine it existing in the level of my generation, but but I do but I can't see it being eradicated to the point where they're just running around in happy-go-lucky relationships. I just can't see it being that. But if that's but as y'all are saying, that is there are still those roadblocks. Like when you say that they complain, but you know they still are trying to fit heteronormative relationships. It's a True Blood reference. Oh, okay, yeah, I didn't watch True Blood. Got it. Um, if they're still trying to fit heteronormative images, I want somebody masked and I'm the femme, and then usually, not saying no. We know that masculine dudes will like femme too, but usually the shade is masculine dudes be trying to be on the DL, so they want mass for mass. That's literally the complaint. It needs to be authentic, but it also needs to stop the sad, lonely, suicidal gay trope. Gays are not as isolated in Gen Zs. They're not. They may not be in a relationship, but they are being sexual with people their age. Yes, definitely. Hmm. Yeah, I didn't get that from this show though. I didn't get that from this show. That I didn't get the sad. Chester definitely wasn't sad, lonely, suicidal gay for me. I don't think so. I didn't get that from him at all. I got confidence from him. Yeah, I didn't get that from Chester. Um, the other guy, the other dude, um, the one that had a crush on Chester, I don't think his miserableness came from his queerness. I think his miserableness came from just him being socially awkward. The unfulfilled chasing after the teacher. Hmm. I don't know. I think that could be real. I don't think because we just was talking. Reggie just is a perfect example that wanted to go after older people because you know I think that could be real. A confident, more mature for his age gay. Yeah, I didn't get that at all. I didn't get miserable teens from any of this. I got awkward teens, but miserable. The only one that I got miserable from was the girl who was staying with her auntie, who was being babysitted by her auntie, the queer one who who had the crush on the other girl. The one that I got miserable from was her. She was very miserable. The rest of them, I didn't get miserable. She was the miserable queer for me. The one with the long hair that got her mother deported. But Chester was lonely. He was just popular. It didn't seem like he got true vulnerable space with his friends that he got from Sam. But I think that's because he put himself on a pedestal. I felt like Chester thought he was better than the rest of them because he was more advanced than them socially. So I think part of that is him doing it to himself. But a lot of people do that. I think young people have crush on older people is normal. I just think it's obvious and inappropriate when the adult flirts back and teens crush on teachers all the time. Yeah. Now we need to get into the photographer immediately going to the soccer player. I don't. What's that part? I don't remember that part. You need to get into the photographer immediately going to the soccer player. I don't remember that part. Even just going on a fucking trip, taking all the gays to a trip to San Francisco would never have happened. And the baby, the parents would have been up in arms. They made Chester a tragic reject character without someone his age. Wow, yeah, I don't get that at all. He wasn't. Who was rejecting him? He had friends. Who was rejecting him? See, I got romantic reject from the white boy. I didn't get that from Chester. I didn't get that from Chester at all. And you didn't get the rejection from the counselor until the end. She broke the girl's heart and she went and fucked the soccer girl. Oh, she broke. That's another thing. I felt like, oh, girl was acting fucking weird and stupid. The one with the long hair. The one with the long hair. Um, I thought she was acting all in love and infatuated, and then when it was time to get down with the other girl, she was very no. It was like what? And the other girl was like, huh? And then when it got her little situation with oh girl, I thought her character was kind of weird too. I felt like the girl with the side of the shave, she was the trope of lesbian and gay. I feel like she was the trope. Um, I think she was the trope. Who else was this trope? I think the girl that had got pregnant was a feminist trope. I think I didn't think there were any black tropes. But I think the black girl with the two dads is homophobic. Hmm. Generally, sure. But I think she just was annoyed by the scenario of her two gay dads. I think she just was a high schooler that was annoyed by the scenario. But yeah, homophobic. Yeah, I can run with that. But I think more so, I think the rebellious high schooler in her is just rejecting um, her situation, being annoyed by the idea that you know my two gay dads, and so she say little smart shit about it. I can see for some personalities that getting old. Sam was one of the few people to see through that persona, and that's why Chester's misguidedly attacked sexual interest to him. Yes. I don't know if she really was, because she was with the big guy. Most women wouldn't date one. I don't know. I think I liked her character. She added a little bit of nuance to the white boy that was crushing on character, crushing on Chester. Um, I love that part where they had an attraction, but I hate when you know she was kind of brokenhearted that he didn't like her in that same kind of way. But she also wasn't really forthcoming about how she was kind of nonchalant. She was kind of like, "It is what it is." Chester character was tragic undertones because of how he was built, his persona, to mask the unresolved pain of his dead mother. Yeah. Hmm. It wasn't about his gayness, though. I could see. I would have a problem uh, if it was about that was about his gayness. That was just about his mother's death. I can see that part being tragic and him being sad about that. I think he did like her. I think she was just mad that he had a crush on Chester, which is weird because she knew he was bisexual. But that don't stop. That don't stop. That don't stop them feelings of jealousy, them feelings of what? Them feelings like that. Not with someone who thinks they're a better option. And she was quite confident, right? She was a quite confident character. Who else? Mm, what did y'all think about the mom? What do y'all think about the mom navigating her son's queerness or potential for queerness? Her character was quite annoying. True. She did three-way kiss with him. The mom was, she was like she played her character good because she reminds me, not necessarily her, but she reminds me of the character um what is her name? Reese Witherspoon played on Little Fires. Little Fires Everywhere. Is that how you say it? Little Fires Everywhere or something. With Kerry Washington. She reminds me of her. Her character reminds me of somebody that would be in Big Little Lies. That town, wanting to have this perfect life, wanting to have perfect children. And so they will make any excuses to why their child is not perfect. Ooh, child, the mom was the worst. I think that's a lot of people saying that were the worst with gay kids. But moms do be kind of insidious with how they turn on their sons when they turn out queer. Ugh, I have seen some horrible. I have seen some horrible homophobic mothers. Yes, horrible homophobic mothers. I have seen the dad be cool. Now I want to say it's the majority, but that I've seen usually is a dad being an asshole. But I've seen moms be very complacent. I've seen moms be very, well, you know how your dad is. Your dad, instead of them, this is what I've seen a lot of. I've seen a lot of moms who they're homophobic, but they don't want to be, or not that they don't want to be, they don't want to express that they are. And so they will blame it on the daddy. So say the daddy is homophobic and that kind of crazy homophobic, but the mom agrees with him, but she don't want to she don't want to have that response. So she was like, well, you know how your dad is. Your dad ain't gonna like that. Um, it's always like they point to dad, but they agree with dad. I've seen a lot of that. True, black mothers definitely turn on their sons if they don't assume the man of the household, masculine or mommy worshiping, want to do mommy hair or makeup. I have seen that. Definitely have seen that. It's not the majority. Now, most of the gay men that I know and gay women, their mom is cool, but I have seen some that no, they're not. I definitely have seen some that's like ooh, kicking their kids out, all that. This reminds me of Damon's mom in the first season of Pose. Yeah, it's a lot of Damon's mom. I see that a lot where they don't stand up for their children. They just kind of let it ride. They may not be the one saying "get the fuck out," but they're not the one that's saying "Nigga, you better go sit your ass down. We're not kicking my child out. Fuck out of here." They'll be like, "Well, you know how your daddy is." The moms act like they're cool, but they really aren't. But a lot of times, moms are in denial and they just don't want to believe it. So they act like it's not real, especially when the kids is young. And then they be like, "Yeah, I knew." Over time, yeah. I don't know. I think anybody can be bad. Mm. Because a lot of times growing up, the moms are refuges for gay boys when their dads are hard on them. So it's like gay boys think their moms are going to support them, but then they like turn on their sons. I don't want to say a lot of times. I see it. Um, um, I see it, but I just don't want to say. I see more accepting mothers than I do not accepting mothers, particularly black ones. So I think I'll for my life and what I see, I don't see it. I've seen it, but I don't. I most of the time, mothers that I know accept their children, and it might be I'm not kicking you out. Like I only know I know none of the gay people I knew in my life personally got kicked out. I have met black gay people who their parents did kick them out, but in my personal life, like me growing up and as I got older, none of my queer friends' parents kicked them out. Were they ecstatic about having a gay son or accepting or like, oh my God, you're so gay, be yourself? No. But they weren't kicking them out. They weren't putting them out. I didn't see that. I heard about it, but I didn't see it. All my gay friends, they stayed home. They was with their parents. Especially in Indiana, very conservative, yes. I guess I have something to watch tonight. Did you see them, Diamond? I did see them. I did see them. Them was really good. Them was good. It's a lot of black trauma porn, but I enjoyed it. I think episode 5 and episode 7. Yeah, episode 5 and 7. Okay, so first of all, yeah. Do, have y'all seen it? If y'all seen it, I don't want to ruin it for y'all. But episode 5 and 7, something certain things were unnecessarily gruesome. Not gruesome, unnecessarily. Some things didn't need to happen. Like certain things, like I'm trying not to ruin the. I'm trying not to ruin for people who haven't seen it. So cut this off if you don't like spoilers. I don't. I didn't feel the need of um, the rape and the baby killing happening at the same time. That was like overkill to me. I didn't feel like the rape needed to happen. I feel like the baby killing, that explains the rest of the story. But the rape at the same time as the baby killing was kind of like, do we need that? We're already getting the horror of the baby getting killed. We didn't need the rape happening at the same time. That was a bit overkill for me. That was kind of extra. That particular thing, I think that was extra. Um, I didn't think that needed to be done. Um, where you see mostly except, my life. Like I don't when if you look at queer people talking about their mothers, um, black queer people, I don't know too many. I know some. I didn't see it growing up, but I hear about it as I gotten older and I met queer people. I've never black mothers in my life. I didn't see them kicking their kids out in my life. No, that's just wasn't my experience. It wasn't my experience and wasn't the experience around people around me. And when I hear other queer people talk about it, most queer people say their mother was the one that accepted them. That I know. I hear now there's some sprinkles of people saying that I don't want to say does I never met nobody, no. But I hear sprinkles of I'll meet somebody and say, yeah, my mom kicked me out. I hear that, but that's not the common knowledge at all for me. That's definitely not the common story. Definitely not. Their mama's kicking them out or their mama's not accepting them. That wasn't the common story I heard. So I don't know. And when I'm talking about like, I'm not talking about just the general, ooh, I don't want you to be gay. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the mean, kick you out, disown you. I'm talking about that. I haven't experienced that and I haven't seen that in my own peripheral. I met people on my journey in life that said that happened to them. But the majority I meet say that their mom was their ally. I don't think I will, but the common critique I hear is the episode 5 gruesomeness. Yes, episode 5 was overkill. I think it was overkill. Um, episode 5, yes, it was overkill. I could but it's a horror film, so I'm not opposed to seeing something gruesome. I just feel like the rape and the baby getting murdered, I feel like the rape and the baby getting murdered was just over. It didn't need to happen. I felt like they should have just held her down and did that to the baby. That would have been enough. That would have been gruesome and shocking enough. It didn't need to be together. That was too much. The father not discussing the move to an all white neighborhood with his family was unrealistic. Especially in the time period. See, I don't know. I think remember when the white lady Brandon, what the experience of older people who grew up in this area, that what the white lady said, like it'd be better if you move in at night. I like my grandmother when not my grandmother, my great grandmother, when she moved into her white neighborhood at the time. It ain't white now, but when she moved there, it was the strategy was to move in at night. It wasn't to come to the white people and say, "Hey, we're coming to move. We're coming to move into your neighborhood. It wasn't to talk to the white people before they came, especially in this time period. Then he was very gaslighty with his family, not realistic. I don't know, niggas be gaslighty. But yeah, he was the most annoying character. But I think he needed to be, though. I think he needed to be because he was the one that was built up to. Because if you think about it, they all had like basically demons that the man in how the man in the black hat manifested for each one of them was different. When it was the little girl, it was the creepy teacher. When it was the little boy, it was the older girl, it was the creepy the white fucking cheerleader. And then when it was the mom, it was the black hat. And then when it was the dad, it was the coon character, the blackface character. So I felt like he had to be broken over time. That's interesting. Black fathers aren't usually in the home to kick anybody out. Mm. Yeah, all the gay men. Let me think. So Kiefer was in a two-parent home. I was the only queer person I knew that was assigned male at birth that didn't have a father present. Ty had a relationship with her father. Now, I saw it commonly with straight boys who didn't have dads, but I saw a lot of two-parent households growing up. So that was kind of like, I didn't see a lot of, it was like half and half. Like if you take the queerness out of it, if you take queerness out at all and just kids, it was like half and half for me. There was people who did have their dad in the house and people who didn't have their dad in the house. But they killed a black baby while the father hesitated to shoot the pregnant white lady in the stomach. That's one of the critiques, Ari, that I had too. I felt like there was no equal retribution. We saw these gruesome things. Then I don't know. It just we saw little moments like when she smacked a girl. That was cute. Um, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Yeah, I don't see. He needs to talk with his family about moving to a place and how they will handle the racism they knew they were going to have to face. They couldn't be that gullible, especially when they just faced it. Mm. Yeah, that part of the dad was weird, but You can't stay in Georgia. In this time period, you can't stay in Georgia because clearly they out of their fucking mind. Um, you move here, you move out here. The better schools, better neighborhoods is going to be where the white people stay, particularly, especially around this time. Is it unavoidable? Definitely, I think he was stupid for not talking about it, but I don't know. Yep, all your friends are light skinned and pretty. No, definitely not. Actually, like the trans women in my city, there was only two light skinned trans women. There was only two light skinned trans women. The rest of them, the popular ones, they were dark and they didn't get kicked out at all. Starbella Be a Goddess, she's very close to her mother and was able to transition very young. Um, my best friend that you see in videos in my past, Ty, she transitioned young like me, and she had relationships with her people, and she's dark skinned. Um, all the rest of the only people in our clique that wasn't dark skinned was me and Keever. And Keever was gay and he didn't get kicked out. And he was in a two-parent home. And his father was a minister. They grew up in church. Now, were they extra? Yes, but they didn't kick him out, and he was light skinned. But the rest of them were dark and didn't get kicked out. So I don't think this is a light skin or pretty thing. I think you're just kind of making stuff up. Yeah, I'm just black mothers didn't kick their kids out where I'm from. I just didn't see that. They're not gonna be happy go lucky, like, oh my God, you're gay and queer, yay. But kicking their kids out, I just have never personally experienced it or saw it in my vicinity. Do I know it happens? Sure. As my life went on, I meet certain people that said that happened to them. I didn't. That was not common. That was not common at all. That's definitely not a light skin, dark skin thing. So that's weird. Did you watch His House? No, I tried to watch it and it got boring. I cut it on like two times and it didn't keep my attention. I tried to watch it because of the girl that's on there that was on Lovecraft Country. I tried to watch it because of her, because I really like her. I think she's beautiful. It didn't work. I didn't like how he responded, Brandon. I didn't like how he responded to them talking about her being crazy and doing crazy stuff. Like he didn't know what was up. I didn't like how he responded to them responding to her craziness. Craziness. I didn't like that. I don't understand why middle class black people of the time didn't stick together and build their own communities that poor black people could benefit from. I think in certain instances that they did, but there still were barriers to be successful with banks, with gerrymandering, um, with just multiple tactics to disenfranchise Black people. That didn't always work. It worked to a certain extent, and then when it worked so well, where they were becoming successful, that the powers that be, would do something to make it all fall down. Have you seen this show, Better Things on FX? No. I love that show, and there's is several trans characters on the show. What I love about it is that it is not even mentioned that they are trans. Interesting. They're cute 30 minutes episode. Oh, I gotta check it out. What else? I love the idea on them. Where we at? I love the idea on them of them sharing that episode 7 where they go back in time, where they explain the origin story of the man in the black hat. I thought that was an interesting, just a narrative that was quite interesting that I haven't seen explored. Back then, building your own, you literally have to have 100% funding. Lack of access to banks really had an impact on how Black people live and build. And then when they did build it, somebody would do some shady ass shit, especially if it was a collective. Oh, I got vaccinated, my first shot of Pfizer on Wednesday. My arm was hurting. Now it doesn't. Now it feels okay. When I got it on Wednesday, that next day, Thursday, baby, my arm felt like it was dead. It was hurting, and I had little tingles in these 2 fingers. It's like, oh, my arm, and it was quite hurting, uncomfortable. And then I had little, very small, fleeting headaches throughout the day Thursday. But when I woke up this morning, Friday, I felt back to normal. Like my arm doesn't hurt. It feels really just kind of normal. Yeah, very normal. But they say the second shot is the one that's everybody is saying the harsher one. Because I'm nervous. Because this one didn't last long, but it was harsh. It was like, oh shit, my arm. But finally gonna get vaccinated. Finally gonna be done with this COVID stuff. I'm still gonna be wearing my mask, but I'll be happy to be vaccinated. They should have went deeper into the housing contracts that the Black had in order to get housing back then. Basically, you had the responsibility of home ownership with the rights of a renter. Basically, it wasn't as simple as people would assume. Hmm. But yes, I like them. I like them. There was certain that little that little Get Out, Daniel Kauo, however you say his name, that little Get Out, one tear down the face. They kept on doing that. That started to be comical. In the cinematography, they kept on doing the one tear, scary deer in headlights. They kept doing that with all the characters, and I was like, this is starting to get funny. And it's taking away the effect. But my favorite character of all on them is the blackface dude. Him and Anika Noni Rose character, their character actress, her being in her character, oh my God. When she kept giggling while she was telling the story. When she kept telling, when she was talking about cleaning, I gotta be clean. I was like, oh, she is acting, an actress. And then the dude in blackface, his character was the best by far. I loved his character. Oh, and then the white lady. Diamond got the mark of the beast. Yes, I need that mark of the beast, baby. So I can get back here to getting this money so I can travel. The white lady, I thought the white lady's trajectory was fucking brilliant. The racist white lady, Betty, I thought her character, where they went with the character, was perfect. Perfect. Should it give another chance? I only made it to second episode. Yes, because if you're stuck on the black guy, the dad being there, you don't get to see his arc, and you need to see his arc because he starts off annoying, but then he goes someplace else. So yeah, I would watch it. I don't know. Like if you're not into I don't know. I just like it. I enjoyed it. It's a horror series, so you're gonna get horror. So if you prepare for that, go ahead and watch it. But Betty's story, baby, that part, woo! The ending of her. I was not expecting it. But I thought it was brilliant. I thought because you so worried about the black people. Isn't this like the perfect like white woman conundrum? Racist white woman. You so worried about the black people that you don't even realize that the patriarchy over here is ready to kill you at any moment. You so uncomfortable with the race part of protecting your whiteness that you don't even see that your femaleness, your womanhood is just about to be pounced, murdered, killed, raped, stabbed, beat, wore out. Like the patriarchy is right there while you're protecting this whiteness. That ain't gonna save you. That ain't gonna save your womanhood. She's still vulnerable, boo-boo, over here in your white man's being the white man's helpmate. He's still gonna throw you under the bus, baby, because you're a woman. When you don't act right, he's still gonna get you together. And I loved that. It's what I love about Handmaid's Tale, which is what with Serena Joy, why she is one of my favorite characters on the show, because it's just a perfect depiction of fantasy depiction of white womanhood. That white lady had the most punchable face. She was a bitch. I know that because of how I am now. It's because of how I grew up, and so it would be different if I didn't grow up like this. But if they take myself now and put me back in that time, I would be one dead motherfucker for multiple reasons. Because they had the fortitude and steadfastness of some strong people. Because certain things I couldn't deal with. Especially the indirect aggression, microaggressions, I can deal with. But it's when motherfuckers the threats. Like when they came to his house while he was fixing that fucking antenna and was like trying to bully him to come on down. Child. Tried to bully me to come on down. I would have came down and twirled their motherfucking ass. Ooh, they would have pissed me off. When she played on American Horror Story. I done seen her in something else. What else did she play in? I don't know what else she played in, but she's been in something else. I don't know what it was though. I thought it was American Horror Story too, but I don't know what she played in. Let me see her name. Her name is Allison Peel. Excuse me. She was in American Horror Story. She was in The Cult with the clowns. Yeah, she was. That was her, Ari. American Horror Story 2017. I knew I had seen her somewhere, but I didn't know where. Because actually, The Cult, I didn't. I don't think I finished it. I think I started it, but I didn't finish it. Damn, she's been around a long time. She was born in 1985. Oh, she was a child actress. She's been around. Who plays the dude in the fucking in the clown? I want to know who plays him. Jordan Peele's wife. I don't know her. Who's that? Jeremiah Burkett. That's who plays Clown. Oh, that is him. Yes. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Yes, it's the dude who plays the like the tap dancing blackface dude. His name is Jeremiah Burkett. He wore that character out. Let me see his history. Mm, he doesn't have a Wikipedia, or does he? No, he doesn't. Let's see. Ryan Murphy is about to do American Crime Story based on the Bill Clinton Monica Lewinsky scandal. We need to discuss that when it comes out. That sounds sickening. I hope they be real about it. He's been around for a long time too. Shit. Mm, yes. So let's close. It's been 2 hours. Let's close it out. Um. So Generation to me was a good show. I enjoyed it. Um. I hope it's a second season. I would love to see more of Chester. I would love to see more. Um. Exploring where they go to next. Pose does come out next week. We will be doing a review on the episodes on Marsha's Plate. I won't be talking about it here, but I will be doing reviews on Marsha's Plate with a special co host for those events. Have you seen Exterminate All the Brutes? I have not. I know that there is a book um, about eugenics that that is called Exterminate All the Brutes. There's a real book from back in the day where the Nazis, I think the Nazis were basing their, yes, it's a book um, that talks about how Europeans were exterminating people in um, Africa. It's called Exterminate All the Brutes. Is that what the show is based off of? That sounds like my type of deal. I'm trying to show y'all what it looks like, what the books look like. Um, but yes, the book is called Exterminate All the Brutes, which talks about, how Europeans were fucking over and killing Africans. Is that what the show is about? I'll check it out. I'll definitely check it out. Do y'all have any suggestions? What do y'all want to talk about next Friday? It's 4 parts. I'm going to rewatch it. Mm, 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 Exterminate all the brutes. We can do that. I don't mind watching it. I'll just announce it on the community page, and yeah, we can talk about it. I don't mind it. Talked about them today. I didn't really want to do a separate video for them, just because it was so kind of harsh. I didn't want to talk about it, but yeah, once this video go down, you can watch us talk about what we liked about it, Cora, because it seemed like you may have been coming in late. But we talked about it earlier in this video, and you can go back and rewatch it. We should talk. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, we talked about it in this video. So once I stop it, you can go back and watch it. Um, yeah, check it out. Yeah, so I don't know what I'm exterminate the brute sounds good. So I'll check that out and see how that goes. What else? Um I'm so excited that Handmaid's Tale is coming back. If y'all know me, y'all know that's one of my favorite shows of all time. I just love Handmaid's Tale. Um, yeah, so I don't this and that comes out next week. So I don't know what I'm gonna have time for because I'm gonna be watching it. So yeah, and then Pose comes back on the second. Um, yeah, it's just so much stuff coming back that I'm excited about. Pose, Handmaid's Tale, so much. Handmaid's Tale is the most interesting, boring show ever. I love it. But all right, y'all. I will talk to y'all next Friday or whenever I get on here, but definitely by next Friday. And yeah, I'll see y'all later.